everyone, welcome to Design by Melody. This is Melody and I'm here today with a 12 by 12 process video for you. So a couple weeks ago I had pulled out a bunch of photos from my photo box and I've just been kind of scrapbooking them on and off. Now these photos were actually from a camping trip that we took at Easter a couple years ago, and I felt like it was time to get those in the album and also kind of live through the memory of going to the beach and going camping. Now, I really enjoy camping, and so I loved creating this layout. I'm actually pulling out some papers from my stash. I do have a bag of supplies that are beach and camping related, so I actually pulled out the beach ones because you can't even tell in these photos that we're actually camping. We were, but we're camping at the beach, and so these photos are just of Kaylin running around on the beach. So I thought it was really nice to be able to use this wood grain background. It just reminds me of like a pier, kind of that weathered wood look. And I went ahead and printed out my journaling as well so I could make sure that I got down what I wanted on this layout before I started adding a bunch of embellishments. Now these little 2x2 cut aparts that you see here were some papers that I bought when we were in Colorado. We went to go visit family in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and there was a locally privately owned scrapbook store. So of course I took the time to go in there and just kind of see what they had. And they had these really cool 2x2, they were 12 by 12 papers with a bunch of 2x2 squares on them. And they had, they were supposed to have all the 50 states, but of course they were sold out of some of them. So I grabbed a few of the ones of the states that we frequent often or that we've traveled to, because I have all these grand plans to have a travel album. I haven't gotten there yet, but I do have all these plans to do it. So I've kind of been gathering supplies along the way. So I say all of that to say that this pile of supplies is just some supplies from my stash. These are beach or pool related, and then I did pull just a couple random things like my stamps and this pattern paper just from my regular stash. I really wanted to use that paper or this paper with the whales on it, but it ends up not really working out. But I do find lots of other wonderful goodies to use, such as these chipboard pieces. Now these chipboard pieces have got to be at least 7 or 8 years old, and they're called On the Coast. They were from SEI. I got them at a scrapbook convention that I went to. SEI had a booth and they had a whole bunch of their older products. So they probably are even older than 7 or 8 years old. But they had a bunch of their older products in like grab bags. And so I bought a couple of those, and that's what these came from. But I really loved the gray and the blue tones, as well as this little shell that's going to go down on the bottom right of my layout. I just love the colors that it brings into this layout. It kind of keeps it that cooler blue tone look, and it keeps it very almost monochromatic, but not really, because I have like the grays, the neutrals, and the blues is kind of the colors I'm going for, and that is pulled directly from my photos. So these photos are of Kaylin running around on the beach. It was kind of a rainy, windy, stormy sort of afternoon at the beach, and my mom and he and I took a bike ride up to the beach. We were staying at a campground at the beach, but you still kind of have to ride your bike to the beach access point, or take your car, but we rode our bikes to the beach access point one afternoon after we had already spent all morning out on the water before the storm. So we had already showered and were, cleaned up for the day. We were ready for dinner, and this was right before dinner. We took a ride down to the beach just to kind of look at the water. It was right before we left. I think we were leaving the next morning super early, so we weren't going to be able to go look at the water before we left. And it's just a picture of us kind of walking along the beach. Kaylin is chasing after seagulls as they're like scavenging for food on the sand to see if anybody has left anything. And there was not another soul anywhere on the beach. It was just us, and it was kind of relaxing. I love to be at the beach when it storms. I know most people are like, what the heck? What's wrong with you? But I think it is so peaceful, and it's so kind of awe-inspiring to see all the different, just a different view of the beach than what you're used to when you see that storm. Okay, so I am layering some blue little elements here and there and some gray elements here and there across the page just to keep all the same colors within the layout. It is a fairly simple layout when you look at the overall effect. However, if you look at the details, I do have like this little blue banner tucked up under the Jacksonville, Florida label I have on the bottom right. I have a little stamped road sign that indicates that we were traveling, or that it was travel. I also have that little shell at the bottom. I added a little gray sticker on the top of my journaling that says noted, and then I am going to add another little blue element below that just to bring another bit of that navy in here as well. I found this really pretty really cool font that says beach. I just like the way that it's written, and I'm going to use that as part of my title. I'm going to make my title My Beach Baby, and I'm going to find some letters, some small black alphas to be able to put my, and have it kind of in between the, I think they're called ascenders of the B and the H when they're above the main bulk of the letter. I think those are called ascenders, and descenders are like P and G that hang below, I think is the way that works. So I'm going to find these little black alphas to be able to put that there. And then this beach is just a clear sticker. So I haven't actually stuck it down yet, but I will here in just a second. It's just a clear kind of acetate sticker. And I really like the font and the way that it works, but you could still see the pattern paper through the background. And then I've got baby here in kind of a blue puffy font that I had in my stash. Now, a lot of these products are older, but I will link them in the description, in my blog post. If you are not a subscriber to my blog, please make sure you go subscribe. I've had my blog for years, and I've kind of gone back and forth as to what all I put on there. A lot of times I've had craft projects and things like that, but I always try to post a blog post to coordinate with my YouTube videos, because it's a great place for me to list all of the supplies I use. YouTube goes back and forth as to whether they let me include links or not include links, so I have to be very careful about what I include in my description box, because a lot of the times the links won't work, even though they may have worked on a previous description box. It's just, YouTube is funny, and I haven't quite figured out exactly why it's doing that, but it's very easy for me just to go ahead and write a blog post to coordinate with this layout, so you can still get all of the information that I have as far as what products I used. I had these really cool acetate die cuts with beach themed, kind of anchors away sort of themed, and I really wanted to include more than what I did, but I only end up including the little arrow at the top actually include two things. I include that navy banner that's going to be tucked behind the Love This banner that I have right here. It's actually a tag, but I make it into a banner, like a pennant instead. And then I also am going to layer that lighter blue arrow at the top here. And that just kind of keeps the same colors going throughout my cluster of embellishments here, but still keeps my embellishments very simple. I really like the simple kind of dainty look that this layout has to it. It's very uncomplicated, I guess you can say, and not too busy, which is really what I prefer. Now, I felt like it needed one little something fun or something different on the layout. So I'm looking to see if there's anything else I can find, and I am going to play around with all these little hearts and stars and little icons that I have in this die cut pack. And this is a tiny little die cut pack because this was actually a planner kit that this die cut pack came from. So I like the scale of the embellishments being so tiny, and I think that's kind of a fun way to cluster things around your layout. And so that's where I get that little navy piece that's going to go right behind my journaling, just to bring that color back through here, and then a little navy heart. And I thought about like this kite, and then I looked at this whale, which was super cute. And then I asked Kaylin, because this is a layout about him, I asked his opinion, and he told me that he wanted the whale right there next to the My Beach Baby. This is where I'm asking him, like, do you want it here? Do you want it there? Where do you want it? To see what he says. And he is going to chime in and say that he wants it right there. And that's where he wants me to put it. See his little, well, he first wanted it in the water. I forgot about that. He first wanted it in the water, but then he decided that it was okay for me to put it down here by the title. And that is going to finish out this layout. I hope you guys have enjoyed this process. This layout was actually really fun to make. And I'm really enjoying kind of being back in in the scrap room. I go through phases where I have more time and then less time to be in the scrap room, but right now I've been able to make a little bit extra time to kind of be in there and get the creative juices flowing, and I hope you are able to take that time as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will have a couple videos linked here at the end for you to go back and check out if you happen to miss them, and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you can be notified anytime that I have new videos posted, or subscribe to my blog where you will be notified anytime I have new blog posts, which also coordinate with the videos. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will be back soon. Bye!